Good morning. Good morning. Happy fall. Well, I had to look at my calendar to tell. It is good to be with you this morning, whether you are watching at home or here in the sanctuary, and it is good for all of us to be together this morning. As we gather together for worship, let me share words with you from the 20th century philosopher Bertrand Russell. Love is wise. Hatred is foolish. In this world, which is getting more and more closely interconnected, we have to learn to tolerate each other. We have to learn to put up with the fact that some people say things we don't like. We can only live together in that way. But if we are to live together and not die together, we must learn a kind of charity and a kind of tolerance, which is absolutely vital to the continuation on human life on this planet. Come, my friends, with our hearts open to both the challenges and the possibilities that this new day and this new week bring, with our hearts open to all that inspires, sustains, transforms, and redeems us. Come, let us worship together.
When we are singing, our heartbeats will synchronize. One heart, one voice, one. When we are singing, our heartbeats will synchronize. One heart, one voice, one. When we are singing, our heartbeats will synchronize. One heart, one voice, one. When we are singing, our heartbeats will synchronize. One heart, one voice, one. When we are singing, our heartbeats will synchronize. One heart, one voice, one. When we are singing, our heartbeats will synchronize. One heart, one voice, one. When we are singing, our heartbeats will synchronize. One heart, one voice, one. When we are singing, our heartbeats will synchronize. One heart, one voice, one. When we are singing, our heartbeats will synchronize. One heart, one voice, one.
The flaming chalice is the symbol of the Unitarian Universalist tradition, the liberal religious tradition to which this congregation belongs. Will those of you here in person please stand as you are able for our lighting of the chalice? If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to light it with me at this time. As we kindle this flame, we recommit ourselves to nurturing the spirit of one another and the common good of the world. May the light of this flame be welcoming to all who seek a liberal religious home. For those of you already standing, I invite you to remain standing for our opening hymn. Our opening hymn this morning is 1028, The Fire of Commitment.
From the light of days remembered, burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith's
Hi, my name is Chris McPherson, and I'm glad to serve as part of your worship team this morning. Whether you are a first-time visitor or a longtime member, I'd like to offer you a special welcome. Here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Raleigh, we are intentionally inclusive, liberally religious, and actively serving the common good of our shared world. Whoever you are and wherever you are on your religious journey, you are welcome here. This morning, Bill Devereaux, one of the lay ministers, will be available in the front corner of the sanctuary after the service to talk with anyone who might be experiencing any difficulty in their lives and would like to talk to somebody. I hope all of you will read the chalice you received by email on Friday about everything happening here around UUFR, or check out the upcoming events section of our website. I'd like to highlight one thing. Our lead minister search committee would like to remind everyone that the deadline for filling out the congregational survey is today. If you haven't filled it out yet, please take 15 minutes to do so, either online or on paper. Paper copies are downstairs near the office and must be turned in by 12:30. A link for the electronic copy is on the front page of our website. All responses are confidential. Sign-ups for a searching committee close next Sunday, October 5th. These small group conversations will continue through October, but sign-ups close next Sunday. Sign up online or downstairs in the lower lobby. Both the survey and the small group conversations are critical to help the search committee learn what the congregation is seeking in its next minister. We now have a brief special announcement from our auction team.
Good morning. I know you're probably thinking, how does the auction team beat the banana announcement last weekend? Patorti, why are you dressed like a hot dog?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion, David. Let me be frank. Where else but UUFR can hot dogs, bananas, and escapees from all of the world's organized religions come together in support of the community we all love? The auction takes place November 8th, and everyone's going to be a wiener. We'll have live bidding and a silent auction, and in the week leading up to it, we'll have an online auction with fixed price items that everyone can afford. The auction supports all of the great programming at UUFR and is our fellowship's biggest fundraiser of the year. If we don't make lots of money, I'll really be in hot water. I'll be grilled by the board, and that is something I will not relish. Don't be a brat. Some of you have given us a chilly reception so far, but catch up with us downstairs after the service for some red-hot ideas on how you can participate. Deadline for donations is 1 week from today, October 5th at midnight. Then prepare to pork over some money and see how the sausage is made at UUFR's 47th annual auction, November 8th. See you there.
Our in-person social hour this morning will be downstairs in Founders Hall. I now invite you to meet and greet your neighbor.
Folks, I invite you to gather back together. This is a time in our service when we shared some of our shared joys and sorrows. We do this because we believe a joy shared is a joy made greater, and a sorrow or concern shared is sometimes made easier to bear. Ted Spencer shares that Dana Briggs, a U.S. Air Force veteran illegally detained and assaulted by ICE in Chicago yesterday, is still in custody. I'll add to this that I am very concerned for friends and family in the Portland area with the threats that they are facing. May we each do what we can to prevent this country's further slide from democracy into autocracy. Rachel Upade shares that she was laid off on Monday after 18 years with her company, and then unlaid off on Thursday. Thanks to coworkers, some powerful VPs who were surprised to see her name on the layoff list, prayers, and maybe even a little heavenly meddling from her dad, she is back at her desk. Rachel, we celebrate your roller coaster week with you with relief and joy. Thomas Clayton shares that he is celebrating the life of Miguel Serveto Conesa, the 16th century Spanish Unitarian martyr, commonly known as Michael Servetus, whose 514th birthday is tomorrow. Thomas says his life is a testament to the right of conscience. Stephanie Raymond says, congrats to Connor, Carl, and Simon for completing the 2.5-mile Y Runners race yesterday. Yes, congrats all around, though I had to remind them downstairs at social hour that the race was yesterday and not in our hallways downstairs. We are now in the middle of the Jewish High Holy Days. So for all of our Jewish siblings around the world and any among us who observe the Jewish New Year, let me say Shana Tova. And for those of you who may observe Yom Kippur, which begins Wednesday evening, let me wish you an easy fast. As we hold these joys and these sorrows in our hearts, and as we reflect on the joys, the sorrows, the fears, and the hopes of our own lives, let's be together in stillness and silence, opening ourselves to that spirit within us, between us, and all around us, called by many names, but known to every human heart. That spirit that leads us to a fuller, deeper, richer experience of life. And after the silence, we'll sing hymn 1031, May I Be Filled with Loving Kindness. But now, just for a moment, let us resist that headlong tumble from one moment into the next and be together in stillness and silence.
Good morning. My name is Rachel Upadhyay, and I'm a member of your board of directors and very honored to be so. I will be downstairs at social hour after the worship service if you have any questions that you'd like to ask about the board or talk to me about any concerns you may have, or even just to say hi. Everything we do at UUFR is only possible because of the generous financial support that so many of us give. For those of you who have set up automated giving to UUFR or who send in a check by mail each month, I'd like to thank you now for your generosity. If you would like to make a contribution in person this morning, we invite you to bring it forward and put it in one of our offering plates. Or if you would prefer to have an usher come to you, please raise your hand. You may also give using one of the methods that will shortly appear on our screen. Our offering will now be given and gratefully received. Thank you.
Our first reading this morning is a short quotation from the English poet John Legate, though it is often misattributed to Abraham Lincoln. You can satisfy some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot satisfy all of the people all of the time. Our second reading is titled "Wifty People," and it is by Unitarian Universalist minister Edward Frost. According to Alexa, who I asked last night, wifty means eccentric, silly, and spacey. I love those who are angry with me because they care deeply about something they feel I may have hurt. I love those who criticize me because they need something they think I can give. I love wifty people because their minds are usually in a nicer place than where we think we really are. I love shy people because they are more like me, really, than the blustery and self-assured whom I love because I know how they really feel. I love the know-it-alls because they know they don't know what is really important. I love those who talk too much because I know how much they fear the silence. And I love the quiet ones because they are usually listening. I love those who love me in spite of what they know.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Let's show all of our musicians just a little bit more appreciation. Thank you. Thank you, Jean Marie. Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you, ensemble. Our ensemble was with us for all of the first service this morning, so they will be departing now. Jane Harrison is a long-time member of UUFR. She is a coastal economics specialist at NC State and also on the faculty there. And she is serving her second term on the Raleigh City Council, representing District D, so representing many people in this congregation. Last spring, I invited her to speak to all of us about both the spiritual challenges and blessings of public office. And she graciously, although maybe today she feels foolishly, she graciously agreed. Let's give her a very warm welcome to our pulpit this morning.
All right, good morning, y'all. It's wonderful to be with you. In 2022, I ran for public office and I won. In 2024, I won again. Now, I'm a low-level elected official, a Raleigh City Council member, but yes, I am a politician. It is both spiritually challenging and spiritually fulfilling. How is it spiritually challenging? Let me count the ways. But I'll start with just one example. An early controversial legacy of mine on City Council was being the deciding vote in a rezoning case about Shaw University. The historically black college was looking to increase their heights and reduce building restrictions in order to revamp their campus. Sounds okay, right? The rezoning would allow the university to enter into private-public partnerships with investors to build out new dorms, laboratories, and campus spaces. Small colleges across the nation have struggled in recent years to keep the doors open. Our only other HBCU in Raleigh, St. Augustine's, is struggling to stay accredited. I didn't want Shaw to suffer the same fate. Turned out, the rezoning case had a few detractors. Alumni were concerned that Shaw wouldn't manage new investments for the good of the student body, that they might squander the opportunity and let private interests take over. Historic advocates didn't want rules loosened on how older campus buildings could be renovated. Shaw graduated many famous leaders. The civil rights activist Ella Baker, who founded SNCC, pharmacist James Shepard, who established NC Central University, prominent physician Manasseh Thomas Pope, who ran for Raleigh mayor in 1919 to fight Jim Crow policies. Shaw's history is part of Raleigh's legacy. In addition, a mosque wanted to ensure they could stay at Shaw to worship, regardless of development decisions. I'm not even going to tell you how I ruled on the case. You can look it up if you care to. But I want you to take away from this is that sometimes there is no one way to do the right thing. Folks were going to be upset for valid reasons, no matter what. A neighbor refused to talk to me because of this case. I was attacked on the internet, and individuals excoriated me personally via email and during public comment at council meetings. People hurt my feelings, and it felt awful. That decision is really just one example, but as an elected leader, there's hardly ever a time when I can do the one right thing that's going to make everybody happy. I aim to be a public servant, and yet I know I can disappoint and even enrage Raleigh residents with my efforts. I authorize bike lanes on people's favorite streets to park. I approve rezoning cases for affordable housing when neighbors would prefer nothing be built next to them at all. I've been outspoken about foreign conflicts and not said enough. When you represent a city of 500,000 people, a lot of people think I'm wrong. Before I was elected, I knew politics could be like this. I've sent my own irate messages to elected officials. I can't believe you did that. Show up for your community. Represent us. We need you. How are you here for the people? So what do I do when I can't satisfy my constituents? When I can't even satisfy myself? One of those things is I try to meditate on the ideas of grace and compassion. For me, grace is wrapped up in the serenity prayer of acceptance. This is one of my go-tos. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Accepting what I cannot change is usually my struggle. I'll give a few examples to explain what this grace thing looks like for me. According to Christian theologian Marcus Borg, faith is the realization of grace, coming to see that God and our reality is gracious. If we don't see that, we remain in a world of requirements, performance, and anxious striving. Having faith is to actualize or make real a life under grace. I got acquainted with Dr. Borg in the book, Meeting Jesus Again for the First Time. Reverend James recommended it, and so do I. Now, in Borg's book, he explains the etymology of the word compassion. In the Hebrew Bible, which Christians call the Old Testament, the word compassion translates as womb in both Hebrew and Aramaic. Compassion is a feeling and a way of being that flows out of that feeling. A woman feels compassion for the child of her womb. A man feels compassion for his brother who comes from the same womb. Now, my vision for humanity is that we find compassion for those beyond the womb. I love my family. I also love my neighbor and those I will never meet. I do not only care for those that look and act like me, but with grace and compassion, I know I need to start with myself. When I think about filling my own spiritual cup as a political figure, I have to practice self-compassion. I require rest and recharge, a lot of bike rides, time off to reflect and revisit my own priorities. I can't do political work 24/7 or I do burn out, and I will not be who I want to be in the public eye. To be the best person I can be in the council chambers, ideally I'm not tired, I'm not sick, I'm not cranky. But guess what? I'm human, so sometimes I'm all of those things. One time I was so ill that I voted to restrict public comment because I was afraid I would literally collapse, fall over in my seat. And my supporters gave me hell for it. They couldn't believe I would silence them. I didn't want to, but then I did. So yeah, I make mistakes, and at times I have to take care of myself and take a break from this life of public service. The first week I joined City Council, I found out I was pregnant. This was a period of incredible overwhelm, learning a new job, having 2 jobs, and the possibility of becoming a mother. I had been struggling with infertility for years, so the pregnancy was a welcome surprise. And it was scary. I kept my situation out of the public eye and focused on my work. I kept the biggest potential life change to myself. Now, 2 months after I joined City Council, I found out the pregnancy wasn't viable. I had a medically induced miscarriage and eventually a surgical procedure to end the ectopic pregnancy. These are the same treatments used for an abortion. I didn't share this at city council meetings or in my workplace. I had a lot to process on my own. I processed the loss with close friends, with a trusted therapist. I found I could hardly talk about it with family members, and it was a struggle for me and my husband to navigate. So why share this now? I guess because 3 years later, I've healed more, and I've learned some things I want to put out in the world. I have more hope than I once did. I started going to a fertility clinic with amazing doctors, which was possible because I got better health insurance from the city of Raleigh. I am pregnant again, 5 months along. Thank you. This is a huge blessing in my life as a 40-year-old woman. I am an old, incredibly happy pregnant lady. When I practice grace and compassion for myself, I am in a better place to practice grace and compassion for others. What do I know about the person yelling at me and what they're dealing with? What more can I learn to make a fully informed decision to help them? When I do have to make a decision that is a bad deal for someone, no matter what do I do? To practice a politics of compassion, I seek out voices of people that are not like myself. I try to recognize when my voice isn't needed or is already in the room. Can I help fill the cup of others who would be better leaders in the moment? My political role isn't always out front. When I do listen to and can elevate the voices of others, this leads to the most spiritually fulfilling parts of being an elected official. A woman told me once about being homeless. She was scared that she might actually get attacked at night, so she would never enter a shelter. She felt safer living outside in a tent with her dog. Because of her story, and so many like it, I committed the city to provide rental vouchers to people living outside in camps. We approved a new pilot program last year to get 45 people who were living outside at Dix Park into market rate apartments. These folks no longer have to fear for their lives at night. Thank you, yes, and that's with your taxpayer dollars, so thank you. Another Raleigh resident told me how their daughter was killed. She was crossing the street to catch a bus. Because of her loss, I learned how pedestrian crossings can be made safer and how to secure funding to prevent such a tragedy from ever happening again. It is my mission to make every intersection safe for people walking, those biking, someone running to catch the bus. I hear a ton of personal struggles and stories as a city council member. I want our political representatives at every level to learn from their constituents, to hear the full stories of those they represent, to be humble enough to realize they never have all the answers. Some things I can fix, and it's fulfilling when I can, but some things I can't, which leads, of course, to more spiritual challenges. We ought to have universal reproductive health care for wanted and unwanted pregnancies. Yes. Everyone should have access to the doctors, procedures, and medications they need, including Tylenol. Many women have miscarriages. 1 in 4 pregnancies do not come to term. We have so much medical know-how. Why do we make it so hard to access? And what about paid parental leave, affordable childcare, and well-funded public schools? Do those in power choose not to hear us? How many times must we explain our real family needs? When I get frustrated with the things I can't change, I have to remember to have hope. And as an elected official, luckily, I do hear a lot of things that give me that hope. I hear amazing, inspiring stories about people who made and are still making a real difference across Raleigh. In 1956, Joe Holt Jr., a 13-year-old, was the first student to attempt to desegregate Raleigh schools. He attempted to enter the all-white schools, Josephus Daniels Middle School and Broughton High School, for 6 straight years, never being allowed in. But his effort is what inspired the next group of students to do the same. And finally, by the 1970s, all of Raleigh schools were open to students of any race. I am inspired by neighbors from Southeast and Southwest Raleigh who worked together in the 70s to elect the city's first and still only Black mayor, Clarence Leitner. People like UUFR member and City Council member Mary Watson Noe, who in 1993 promoted and approved the city's first non-discrimination ordinance to include sexual orientation and gender identity as protected classes in employment. Yes. I'm inspired by groups like the Oak Folk Collaborative, who are working to protect our tree canopy, and citizen advisory councils. Those are CACs that bring neighborhoods together to improve public safety and provide input on city plans to council and city staff. So, yeah. So does politics fill my spiritual cup? Sometimes. Also in 1,000 ways I never could have imagined. And when my cup goes really dry, I take breaks and I try new things. Spending time in a quiet woods with my husband and my dog. I pray. I rely on science. IVF is a godsend. My North Star for Raleigh is building the common good and a community that takes care of each other. I love hearing from residents about their dreams and what they want to do. I see Raleigh as a bright spot in the universe. Our community cares about each other. We are informed. Did you know Wake County is the progressive stronghold of the state? We turn out more Democratic voters than any other county. Yes. And it is our votes, I would say, are the reason that Justice Allison Riggs won the North Carolina Supreme Court. Yes. Raleigh makes and breaks statewide elections. And while I know we've got it going on in the capital city, what about the wider world? How do we counteract and defeat the narrow-minded nativist impulses that currently command this nation? I've spoken here at length about maintaining grace and leading with compassion at the local level. How do we do that when corrupt and crass politicians lead our country off a cliff? America's laws, institutions, and highest ideals are under attack. My university colleagues at NC State see their research grants, their jobs, and even students disappearing. Immigrants must keep a low profile, for they fear unjust charges and capture. Cities are being taken over by federal force without cause. Foreign aid, as well as consumer and environmental protections, have been axed, gone through the wood chipper, so they say. Self-interested billionaires and conspiracy-minded sycophants have unfettered access to our president, while the rest of us could face persecution from a social media post. How do we find political grace in times like these? I am learning and relearning to accept the moment we are in. My grace doesn't come from hiding, escaping, or ignoring the facts. Rather, my serenity stems from being rooted like a tree in this community. Lone trees are at risk. We are stronger in a grove. I believe we will withstand this political storm. I have that faith. For now, like a hurricane, the national administration rages. I'm noting the damage. Federal workers fired are like roofs blown down. Economic chaos with capricious trade wars remind me of flooded homes. A lack of due process and the targeting of minorities recalls the uneven impacts of a storm. Those who had less to begin with will have even less after this mess ends. But when people are hit by a storm, we have the opportunity to wake up. When the windows are blown in and there are glass shards all over, do you look away? To realize the true burden of destruction, that's the moment we have to enter, despite what we've been told in our media rabbit holes. For all of the trees in the grove still left standing from this storm's wake, we have to be ready to help, to provide support, to tell the tale of what we've seen, to engage in strategic collective action, and most importantly, to provide another vision for the future, one of compassion. Raleigh, and especially UUFR, is a strong community filled with people I liken to wise trees. Oaks and maples, longleaf pines, flowering dogwoods, and grand magnolias. When our roots intersect, we prop each other up. We anchor to the earth. We help our neighbors breathe easier. In this torrent of crazy plaguing our nation, please keep standing by me in the grove. Throughout the next 4 years, or however long these political winds blow, I will stand by you. Because this place fills my spiritual cup. And when the clouds clear and the sun beams, I'll stand by you then too. I am rooted with you in community. Amen.
Thank you, Jane. Our closing hymn this morning is number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Will you please stand as you are able?
For all that is our life, all is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its reward,
each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
As we prepare to end this time of worship together, may we do so with ever more love for ourselves and for others, with ever more gratitude for this precious, precious gift of life that we share among ourselves this very day, with ever more peace in our hearts, and with ever more hope for our own lives and this world we share. Amen.